So this is my mom, Ann McFarland, and we're going to talk a little bit about where she came from, where she was born, and the history of the family from her aspect of where she was born in Europe. So, Mom, you were born. How did in Europe? How did they pronounce your name?
Alexovich.
First name,
Hanya.
Hanya.
That's a nickname.
Right,
My real name is Anna.
right. You were born in Vishny Orlik.
No, we lived in Vishny Orlik, but I was born in Yadlova.
I didn't know that. So Yadlova, Czechoslovakia. Then now it would be Slovakia.
Mhm.
Um, and so your mom and dad, what were their names?
My dad's name was Joseph and Alexovich, and mom Anna
Anna Vasilenko.
Vasilenko. Yes.
Yes. All right. And so you were born what year?
1942.
Right in the middle of the
The
war.
war, World War II.
Okay.
Yes.
And so your dad, tell me about some of your first memories of, do you remember the war?
No, I don't remember the war, but I know when my dad, he was in the military, and he, after the World War II in 1945, he went out in the field to look for some shells that were exploded to make a base, but somehow he was killed. Whether he stepped on the mine or what happened, I don't know. But he was killed after the World War II in 1945. And I remember that part when they brought him into our home. They brought him in a wagon and he had blood all over him. I remember that. I was only 2.5 years old, but that was a devastating situation for me.
It's all right.
And my mom really had a hard time taking care of two children. I have an older sister that was 5 years older. I was two, so she would have been seven.
That's Marie.
Yeah, Maria. And mom didn't have a place to live because we lived with my uncle Joseph, I think it was. And
After your dad died, you
after my
lived with
dad
your
died,
uncle.
yes.
So
Yeah,
Uncle Joseph would have been your dad's brother.
yeah, my dad's brother.
Okay.
And because mom was not feeling well or not well, she couldn't help him to do the farming, to do the things that my dad used to do. And so we had to move out. And mom went to see if she could find a job working in an orphanage. That way, she could take me and Maria. Maria could be in the school there, but I had to be with mom because I was too young to be in an orphanage. And we didn't stay there long because mom couldn't do the work there either. So we left Maria in the orphanage for a year, and mom found a Christian lady, Paraska, who lost her husband during the World War II, and she also lost her daughter, my sister's age too. And so we moved in with her.
So
In
is Paraska her last name?
Paraska is her first name. It's Patricia in Slo in
Oh, oh, okay,
okay.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you moved in with her.
Yes, yes. And she was a Christian lady, and she had a daughter, Marcia, Maria, like, and she was my age. So it was a good thing for us to do.
So you and Maria and your mom are living with Paraska,
Yes.
and
And
she.
Maria's in the orphanage.
Okay, okay,
Oh, and she
okay.
stayed there a whole year.
Maria did.
By
Was
herself.
that hard for her? Did she talk about that?
She never really talked about it, and I was so young to even
You don't
I
remember.
don't remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sure it was not an easy thing for her.
Yeah. So at this time, how are you supporting? How is your mom able to? You're living with Paraska.
Okay, I guess I don't know how we were supported,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because at that particular time the communism was in charge. So
Hmm.
everything that we owned belonged to the government.
Hmm.
And they would come and check our homes to see what we owned. So they had the right to
Take.
for us to do what we needed to do to
Right.
give to them.
Right.
So if you had a farm and you planted some potatoes, you went and dug the potatoes, and 9 bags of potatoes went to the government, and 1 bag went for us to survive on.
Okay.
So it was like 10% that we lived on the income that we had from the government, so to speak. But we worked for the government
Hmm.
and gave everything to the government. And
Hmm.
that went for if we had cows, depending on how many cows you had, how much milk you had to give to the government. And I remember taking the milk to the place where they collected, and
Hmm.
where it went, I don't know, but once in a while they would check to see if the water was put into the milk.
Because people
And
were
so,
watering it
yeah,
down.
so you watered it down, but nobody knew, how much real milk was there.
Hmm.
But when they checked it, everybody wanted to know when they never let us know when they were going to check it. So I don't know what the penalty was if you
Right.
had water
Right.
in it. But and if you had a pig, they had to know everything that you had. And then the money exchange came to where they changed the money. And so they took all the money because if you kept them, they
It's
were
not
of no
worthless.
value. So they had total control over your life.
What do you remember from that age? How old were you when your mom? Well, so at some point your mom meets the man from Cleveland, right?
Okay,
Tell
okay,
us about how that worked.
okay. That was this man, John Masika, that my mom married in Europe, and he was much older than my mom. In fact, he was 17 years older than my mom. Actually, he went to Europe to, his wife passed away here in USA.
She was
So,
in a car accident.
yeah, she was, but she survived that. But later on, she died. And so he wanted to go back to Europe to find another wife. Actually, he wanted to marry the lady Paraska that we lived with, and
Oh,
she refused him. So my mom said, I'll marry you. So they did get married. And the government at that time told my mom that we couldn't go with them because mom was married to a U.S. citizen. But we would follow her in 3 months. Well, 3 months took 5 years. And my dad, my stepdad, and my mom lived here, and we were in Europe.
and so how old were you when Baba left?
I was 7 years old, and Maria was maybe 12.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And did you stay with Paraska?
yes, all
Okay,
the time. But Paraska never expected to keep us for five
right,
years. This
right.
was
So did Paraska remarry then?
she did later on. Yes, she
Okay, but
did.
the whole time you were there, she was by
Single.
herself.
She was single.
I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then when she did get married, she had a little boy named, I think his name was Joseph too. And when it was time, mm, when he was born, he was so not doing well,
Mhm.
and we thought he was going to die. But he lived after a year of struggling, and I became very attached to him because he was just a little boy, and I was taking care of him. And before we left for USA, he was okay, and I really hated to leave him there. I really did.
And so tell me what do you remember about living with Paraska, going to school? What was your daily life like? What was the house? What did the house look like? How big was the house? What do you guys
Well,
stay
the
there?
house was it was an incredible house. I wish I could show you a picture of it. The roof was made of straw. The walls were mud walls, like,
Mhm.
the floor was mud walls, a floor, and We did have like a furnace or a stove or something in the house to keep us warm. We had one room, and then we did have a kitchen to itself, but everybody slept in that one big living room that we had.
And
Mhm.
so, how does that work? Do you are there just beds set up in that room all the time? Do you
Yeah, the
put them
beds
away?
were set up, and we had feather ticks or feather uh,
Hmm.
comforters, like, and stayed as warm as we could. Yeah, in the winter time.
And
The winter seasons were winter all long, all winter long. There was snow all the time, so it was cold. It was really cold.
do you remember what was the daily life where you're living in a very rural area?
Mhm.
So do you have cows you take care of? You mentioned potatoes. Do you have garden?
Mhm.
What is your life like there?
I guess in the winter time we had things to put away so we can have things for the winter. Um, during well, I went to school, and in school we went 6 days a week instead of 5 days. And if you didn't know your lesson, you got spanking. And I didn't like school. I really didn't like school. And and in school they in the summertime we had like a little garden that you went and took care of it while the school was while we were on the vacation, and so you always had something to do to take care of things. Yeah, and then during the summer I would take the cows out in the field, and we would do that. We only had one cow, so we took care of the neighbor's cows out in the field and stayed all afternoon, and then brought them back. But the whole neighborhood would have the cows going at the same time out in the field. So
So you would go and they weren't like fenced and everybody. So you guys would the kids would take this
the cows,
everyone's cows and
yes,
you'd have like your own little herd of cattle out
yes,
there,
yes.
and you spend the day watching because
Because
they
you have
can't.
to watch them. But if you lost the cow, they knew how to get home. They found their way home.
Mhm.
But you have to watch that they don't go on somebody's property that was,
And destroy eat
yeah,
their
destroy
potatoes.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the reason. And most young people went doing this.
Hmm.
And I was young. I was just 12
Hmm.
years old. And so it was something that we did to help the neighbor, to help
Hmm.
Paraska
Hmm.
financially, because they paid her for us doing that. And the cows that we took, there was five of them, and plus ours, which was just one. And but there were other kids, so I didn't have to do it by myself.
Right, right.
So it was a fun time in a way.
Okay. And so you did that during the summer. In the wintertime, you had some
Wintertime,
hay.
I don't know what we
You
did
don't remember? Yeah, yeah.
other than you shovel snow, and a lot of times there's no way to even shovel it because
Hmm.
it's always on the ground,
Hmm.
you know.